Wonderful crowd here. So, my name is Rajesh Lal, and I'm going to talk about how to build amazing mobile apps using HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript. And I work at MeeGo team in Nokia Mountain View, and so, in fact, I'm going to take you on a journey of this guy who is a developer, a geek, who is very comfortable with web technologies, and he has some kind of knowledge of C++, Linux, and he is in the center of this mobile revolution which is going on right now. And so he wants to know why should he go on and start investing the time on creating mobile apps. What are the different kind of apps available, when to use each of them, what is a native app, what is a web app, and what is a hybrid application. And then he wants to know what is the SDK tools, technologies available to create these apps. And then at the end, he also wants to see some demos. So I have like 3 demos here, which will come after some time. So he wants to actually see that it works on a device. So I'm using N900 for now for the demo, and so let's get started. So the first question is why mobile apps? So Gartner is a very industry-wide research organization, and they have these numbers based on a mobile usage. So this is a mobile app store worldwide revenue in terms of 4.5 billion euros for 2010 only. So they have this statement that consumer will spend in mobile app stores in 2010 4.5 billion euros. So that is just what consumer is spending this year. And revenue is much more than that, because a lot of revenue comes from advertisements and a lot of other collaborations. And their prediction is the revenue model will increase like not just twice, it will be like 4 times in 3 years. By 2013, the revenue model will be up to 20 billion, more than 20 billion euros. So I think that's a good amount of motivation for this guy to start investing his time on mobile development. So with that, let's go to the next step. What are the 3 different types of application we have in a mobile device? So broadly, based on the implementation, we can say we have a web app, a hybrid application, and a native application. So what does a web app does is, a web app is basically an application which lives in the browser. So the web page is coming from a remote server. You can use your mobile device to open the web service and use it. And then the second kind of application is the hybrid application. Hybrid application, what it is basically a thin client. It's basically a native application which has an embedded browser in it. So the embedded browser can have a remote server data or a remote web page, or even it can have a local web page. So that's the hybrid apps implementation. And then the third one is the native application. So native apps, we all know, basically resides on the device, is much more richer, and it can access all the device APIs which is available. So with that clear, let's go to the next step, which is when to use each. I mean, this guy is kind of skeptical. Okay, all these kinds of different apps. When should I go with a hybrid application? When should I create a mobile application? Or what is this web app completely? So let's just see a bigger picture here. So what happens is a native app has a very big advantage here, because it is supported by all the app stores. So the app store billing mechanism lets you earn money out of a native application. That's one of the biggest advantages. And then a native application is robust. It can access device APIs, like I said before. It can be used for paid contents. It does not need internet connection. It can be offline, so it can be used for games and all. And on the other hand, a web app is basically based on a self-distribution model. So it is very easy to develop. You use standard web technologies, and you can use it for, you have a very wider market, because most of the mobile devices nowadays, they support a web browser which supports all the latest technology. So you have a low development cost. And on the downside, for a native application, you have a size limit. So you cannot have like 50 MB size application on the device. And then update is a difficult kind of bottleneck. When you are updating a native app, you have to make sure each of your consumer gets the app, and then it's kind of a bottleneck there. And then, of course, the development cost when you are creating a native application using C++ or any of the programming language, it can take a lot of time and effort. And on the other hand, for the web app, there's a connection required. So you cannot have a offline application which can be a web app. You don't have any security or DRM protection. And then monetizing is kind of very difficult, because a web app is basically a web page. So you don't expect people to pay for a web page. I mean, that's not how the web works right now. You just go to a web page, website, and you don't. It's kind of very tricky situation there. So this just to give you a bigger picture. And then hybrid app is somewhere in between both of these. Okay, so so the big question, when to use each of these types. So my suggestion to you guys is, when your application is feature heavy, when you have premium content, you have customers, when privacy is important, you go with a native application. For example, you can use location services, games, premium media, and all those. And when of course you need device APIs like contacts or device camera, those kind of features you need, you go with a native app. And then for a web app, when the content is heavy, you have a lot of contents and you don't want to put all those contents on the device. So you want to go with a web app. When you have a free service based app, you want to give a free service to your existing customer, you want to create a web app. And then of course, if your cost is a concern, maintenance is a concern, web app is your way to go. And then hybrid app is kind of best of both the worlds. So it gives you content heavy web app, and then it also gives you a potential to monetize. So because hybrid app is a thin client on the device, so a lot of people right now are creating specialized medical applications, which is nothing but a web page, a set of web pages with specialized knowledge. In the device, people are ready to pay for it. The same content on the web, nobody is paying for it. So that's one of the most successful app on a mobile device right now. Okay, so let's go to the next step. So the next step is how to build these apps. You have these three apps. So now this guy wants to know what are the platform, what are the tools, what are the technologies available for these apps. So so the first thing I want to stress here is MeeGo is fully compatible to HTML5 and Qt. So everything you do on HTML5 and Qt SDK works on N900, and it is upward compatible to a MeeGo device. So the tools available right now we have is Nokia Qt SDK, works on cross-platform, it has cross-compilation, and then most of you are like aware of a MADE tool, which is a debugging and testing environment for MyMo device. So you can actually start developing on N900, and that will be future compatible with MeeGo devices. So this is a kind of a pyramid for the demos I have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how HTML5 is supported today as a web app for N900, and then my second demo is about how you can use all the advanced features of CSS3 in a hybrid application, and then lastly I will show you how to integrate QML with JavaScript. So you create an app with a user interface in QML and logic in JavaScript, and then you create a native application based on these two. So you don't need to have any kind of C++ knowledge or expertise. And then like you see in the pyramid, these apps basically, the native app is much more closer to the APIs and of course to the device. Okay, so now we come to the most interesting part of the demo, which is the three demos. So the first demo I have is HTML5 web app. So before I jump into the demo, I want to give a quick refresh on HTML5. So what exactly is the HTML5? HTML5 is the basic powerhouse behind the web apps. Today, if web apps are possible, it's only because of HTML5. Because any kind of application, you need local storage, you need threading, you need media elements, you can use canvas. So all these elements were not there previously in HTML4 or all the XHTML1. So a lot of people at W3C and a number of different organizations, they come together, they had a good amount of thought on the current web trends, and they came up with all these specifications. These are the standards based on the current web trend, current demand and requirement. So all these things are available today on N900. That's what is my demo is about. So let's jump into the demo. So here I have a simple HTML5 clock, and so what I'm doing here is basically I'm using an HTML5 canvas here, and then I'm using a lot of JavaScript to draw an amazing clock on that. So I'll show you in a minute. But the point here is, let me open this clock in a current popular browser. Okay, so this is what happens. I mean, a lot of users don't have this functionality in the desktop right now, but right now N900 supports this. So what I have done is I've just copied these files, and I have it here. Okay, and I have this shortcut here, so you can see here. So this is a kind of web app, and it uses HTML5 canvas, and the JavaScript is basically writing on top of canvas. It's basically drawing the whole image, and it's kind of wonderful kind of clock. And it's basically, it depends on your imagination. If you have a canvas element on a web page, maybe you can create a whole photo editing software on a web page, and you can provide that service to the user. I mean, you have a whole option to innovate, and with local storage, web apps are possible because of this. So with that, let me go back to my presentation. Okay. So the second demo I have is how to build an hybrid app with CSS3. So what I'll do is, like, I'll do some hands-on here so that you know what I'm doing and how easy it is to create a hybrid app which supports all of the CSS3 functionality. So before that, let me just give a quick refresher about CSS3. So what is CSS3? When the web was evolving, HTML4 became HTML5. CSS3 also was evolving at the same time. And then CSS3 has a lot of new capabilities which was not there earlier, like animation. You know, this is something which was very much needed. I mean, I remember those days when we used to animate in JavaScript. I mean, it was like a mess. You find out a pixel value here and a pixel value there, and do a loop and try to animate objects from here. And with CSS3, the animation is like you just put a tag on a div element, and that's it. That's all. That's all it is. So, and there are a number of other features, like you can have your own fonts, you can have gradients, you can have rounded corners. All the wonderful things we always needed is there in CSS3. So how do we develop this hybrid app with CSS3 inbuilt? So what we have is this Qt container, which I said the thin client, and then Qt has a wonderful control, which is Qt Web View, which is based on Qt WebKit, and then you basically integrate your CSS3 web app inside this browser element, and then that's all of your hybrid app. That's it. And I'll show you how easy it is to create one. So before that, let me just give you in 3 steps what needs to be done when creating a hybrid app. The first thing is, of course, you create a new project, you select mobile Qt application, Second step, you want to select N900 because you want to run out N900. The latest release is PR 1.3. If you also want, there is a simulator available for N900 which can be used for testing on the device, on the desktop. You can also select 4.70, which is for desktop. So you can actually run the same application on desktop, on simulator, and on N900. And this is what you get. So what you get is basically, I have done nothing so far. I have this main.cpp, main window.cpp, main window.ui, and you don't have to worry about any of these files except the last one. And I'll show you how just using drag and drop you can have this whole app running in no time. So the second step is, once you created the project, there's one line you have to add in the project file, which is Qt plus equal to WebKit and network. So this basically tells the Qt creator to include all the libraries which is required to create this WebKit based control. And then, of course, the network you need if you want a remote web app hosted inside your hybrid application. Second thing, the third thing and the last thing what you need to do is you open that window, main window.ui in the design view. You go down to the controls and select QWebView and then integrate it in the window, which I'll show you in a minute. And then you go and put the URL property of this WebView control to the web page which you want. This can be http google.com or your remote server.webpage.com, or it can also be a local web app. So let me just do this. So let me just remove this for a while. New project. Like I said, Qt C++ project, mobile Qt application, and I call this, let's say I just browse it to desktop. I call this hybrid CSS, and I say next. Here is my N900 PR 1.3. I don't want sim devices, and I go next. I want to add an icon here, so I have selected an icon here for the app, and that's it. You finish. Okay, so you go to edit. So this is your project file, which I told you need to add WebKit and network. So let me do this real quick. WebKit and network. That's it. You go to main window.ui. You want to change the size to 800 by 420, and then you go down in the designer. Here's the QWebView control. You select this and just drop it here, and you have this 800 by 420. Okay, now I have this hybrid application working. Okay, now I have the Qt container, I have the Qt WebKit. What I now need is the CSS3 based web application to put inside this. So for that, I have like another clock here, which is called CSS3 clock. So the amazing thing about this CSS3 clock is there is no JavaScript involved here. There's an index.html which uses a lot of styles. For hour, minute, I'll show you how it looks like. It's fantastic. And the second amazing thing about this demo is there are no images. So you will see how it will look like. So there's an HTML page and there's a style.css, which if you look closely, you have some a lot of CSS related gradients, box shadows, border radius. So you'll see how it will look like. It's kind of a fantastic application. So you go here. Now what I need is basically I need those files in my WebKit. So what I do is like I'll just add a resource file here. Add new. Go to Qt resource file, and let's call it MeeGo. Add it here, and then you add a prefix. I don't need all these things. Now I add files. So I just go and find out my CSS3 demo and select just these two files, and it will automatically copy these files in the directory where it is needed. So copy. You have these two files, you just save it, and then you build it once. So you have this index.html, basically a local web application, and then you have this Qt container which hosts a browser, embedded browser. So let's now go to our web view control. Go here and select the URL property and choose resource. So basically here you can choose a file which can be a remote file, or you can choose a local file. So I go here and let me, okay, so I see index.html here, and I will not show you the clock right now. Okay, so now what I have done is I have connected my N900 here, which is okay. So let me just close this. Oh, it's fantastic. Okay, so now I've selected MyMo release, and let's say I just want to run on MyMo. Takes a while to build and package and deploy to the N900. So what exactly you need is, if you are developing on N900, I would recommend trying Madde tool. It's a fantastic tool, but that's not required. I mean, you can create a whole Debian package here on Qt Creator, and you can just copy it to N900 and install it there. So, but it's kind of easy tool, like I'm showing you now. Okay, so here it is. So this is pure CSS3. There is no image here. There is no JavaScript here. Everything is going on just with styles. It's kind of fantastic. So what do you guys think? Not bad. Okay, so let's go back to my presentation here. And okay, so the third demo. So now we know how to use HTML5 in a web app. Now we know how to use CSS3 in a hybrid application. So the third thing is how to create a native application using JavaScript and QML. I mean, we have been hearing a lot about QML. So QML, let's do a small refresh on QML. So QML is definitely a very powerful language. It's declarative and it's based on JavaScript. So if any of you guys have ever worked on JavaScript, ever come across JavaScript object notation, JSON data, if you have ever worked on that, you already know QML. QML is basically key value pair. In JSON data, you have the value, only string, numerals, arrays, objects. But in QML, the value can be a JavaScript expression, a value can be a property binding to another element, and then on top of that, QML provides a lot of elements which can be used, like rectangles, images, shape, audio, video, and then you also have states and animations and transitions. So those are things which completes a programming language, and it's very easy. So let's see how we create this native app. So in the same way, we have the Qt container, and then this time we embed two things. One is the JavaScript file which has the logic, and the second one is the QML file which has the user interface. And C++ is not required, but you need a few lines here or there, which I'll show you, but otherwise you don't need anything else. You can create the whole application using these two files. So this is how my JavaScript file looks like. It's a simple JavaScript, get date, get hour, minute, seconds, return time. And then this is my QML file. So if you look closely, you have a rectangle, and then inside that there is a text element. You have ID, you have anchors.horizontal center, which is binded to, so that's the property binding I was talking about, parent.horizontal center. So the text is centered on the rectangle, and then there's a y coordinates for the text, and then the text below that is basically saying my clock.getTime. So this is interesting because this is now calling a function from a JavaScript file. So you have the JavaScript file, and if you look at the second line, you import a JavaScript file as my clock, and that is all you need. That's it. You can import a whole JavaScript jQuery library or any kind of libraries here. Just import it here, and then you can use the function like that. So how do you create the native app in 5 steps? The first step is again create new mobile Qt application, and then you have to remove files. We don't need main window UI, header, CPP, nothing. Only thing we need is main.cpp file, and I'll show you just 3 lines will do all the magic. So and again, like we did for hybrid application, you add a declarative which will include all the QML libraries, and then in the main.cpp you have to remove these you have to replace with these 3 lines. So so basically what's happening here is this pre-generated code which comes here. So remove those 3 lines and add these. So this, what this does is, this will just say Qt declarative view is an object in Qt, and it will set source to a QML file. So this is the wiring from Qt to QML, and inside the QML you do the wiring to JavaScript file, and that's all the magic here. So you can actually add those 2 files as a resource file, so that it compiles with your native application, and you don't have to have a QML file, a JavaScript file hanging out. And then add the binding, which I said import clock.js as my clock, and I get time. So let's jump into the demo. So what I'm going to do here is instead of typing all the way, I will just open the project so that you guys don't have to wait. Okay, so let me show you what this project has. So this is the line which I was talking about, declarative, and you are good to go. And there is a deployment. This is a configuration file, don't have to worry about. And this is the resource file which I have added the same way. I have added QML, clock.js, and I also added an image just to make it look better. And the CPP file, this is the magic. That's it. So let me build this and run it on the device. And one more thing, I haven't shown you the QML file. So QML file is here, and I have added one more text welcome and an image. So let's see. What we need is basically a time, but you also need the time to change every second, right? So it's building now. Sometimes you get this warning if your name is uppercase or numbers, but don't have to worry about it. So that's my QML and JavaScript working together to create a native application. Now let's go back to the demo. So that was my 3rd demo, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about is the QML plugins for mobility. So we have a range of Qt mobility APIs which can be used from native code, but if you don't know C++, if you want to take this approach, how can you do that? I mean, it's like you have to learn that. So there's a set of APIs which is available today, and this set is actually increasing. And a lot of people are working on these, creating these plugins for QML for all these Qt mobility API. So you must be wondering, how do I use this? Okay, so I'll give you a sample code here. So this is how you use it. If you want to use a multimedia API, you import the multimedia kit library, and then you use the audio tag. And that's like pure QML now. So this is the audio functionality of the device, which is now inside QML. So every time we add a QML plugin with the Qt mobility API, you will find something similar to this. For example, I have another example which is location QML plugins. So if you want to show a map, this is all you need to do. You have this location 1.1 and then rectangle, you embed a map object, you set the zoom level, and all these properties are actually documented. So you can zoom in, zoom out, pan, and do a lot of stuff which is not possible with plain QML or JavaScript. So, but using these QML plugins. So with that, I think I am 5 minutes. I want to thank you guys for your attention, and here is some resources where to get Made for Windows, and there's also a Qt Creator integration for Linux and Mac, which is on that wiki page. Qt SDK, Qt Mobility APIs information, and I would like to encourage you to create some amazing apps. Thank you. Any questions? Yes. No. So QML is basically an application which can be used to create an application to run a QML file on N900 or anywhere. But in this application, you are embedding QML inside a Qt wrapper. So basically, it becomes a native Debian package, which I can show you here. And then using this Made tool, you are actually deploying it to the device directly. You have this hybrid app, native app. So if you see this, so you don't need any, there is no QML file here. What you see is basically, this is exe for Windows, but if you go to the version which is for the simulator, if you see, we didn't run for the simulator, but these are just configuration file. So basically the Debian package is deployed here. So actually if I even disconnect this, I have these apps. If you go to here, you see this. This is a native QML JavaScript. This is the hybrid app, and you can actually just run. Oh wait, I did something. CSS3. This is the app deployed. So this is basically a Debian package which goes gets deployed. And then you have this native QML JavaScript. Okay. Any more questions? What? Can you repeat the question, please? So it is available right now. The whole local offline storage works in the WebKit engine. So the approach which I showed you, the hybrid approach, you can use all these features. And even in the web app, the Firefox as well as WebKit based browsers, they support complete HTML5. So if you are creating an HTML5 web app, you don't have to worry on the device at all. CSS3, some of the CSS3 features are not there, but if you use the hybrid approach, you have all of those in the hybrid approach. Yes, please. I cannot hear you. I'm sorry. Yes. The suggestion is, I think, Canvas is supported in WebKit, and so it can be used. So yes, of course. So HTML5 web apps can be tested on WebKit-based browser or Firefox, latest version of Firefox, and then. But if you are creating a CSS3 based application, I would suggest testing out only on WebKit based browsers. Any more questions? Yes, please.
Yes, what about
Web runtime is basically like a local web app, and the way I showed you, the hybrid web app is basically similar to that. So what you can do here is everything you have, and this creates a native application which is much more functional and much more native. So. I think, I think I'm not currently aware of that, but maybe I can point you to somebody who knows better. So please meet me afterwards. Any more questions? Yes. I'm still not able to hear you. Yes. That is the real power of QML. What I showed you here was QML is the real power of QML comes from the fact that it is much more than a JSON data. You can have a JavaScript expression as a value for this text welcome or text time which I showed you. So instead of calling the JavaScript function, you can actually create a JavaScript function there and return it to, and get the data. So you can actually say get date or get time at that point, and you can use complete JavaScript there. You don't have to include any library or any JavaScript file. So that makes it really easy for a web developer to use all the JavaScript power of JavaScript, and then slowly, few things he can also use using UI like animations and transition and states. Those are a bit on the tougher side, but once you get a hang of it, I'm sure it won't take a lot of time. Yes, please. No. I'm using the Qt Creator 2.1 and Qt SDK 4.7. So Qt SDK 4.7 has everything you need. It has the PR 1.3 release for MIMO. It has all the mobility APIs which I showed you, and it has the Qt Creator 2.1, which includes Qt declarative QML support. So you have everything. It's like public now. Any more questions? No questions? So who among you are going to create some apps and show it to me based on my presentation? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.